A plane crashes in between Mexico and the U.S. Where do they bury the survivors?
I don't know. Where they're born.
So they bury survivors now?
Oh shit! Oh my god!
Plane crashes in between Mexico and the U.S. Where do they bury the survivors?
In Mexico.
Mexico.
In the water.
Where did it start?
I mean, they're not really gonna find them, are they? They're all dead. Oh wait, no, you don't bury survivors.
If they're above land, then maybe somewhere near where they crashed or back in their home country. Do they fly the dead bodies? I don't know.
So they bury survivors now?
Oh my god.
So they bury survivors now?
Oh.
A plane crashes in between Mexico and the U.S. Where do they bury the survivors?
This is the oldest question.
What's the answer then?
They don't bury them because they're alive.
A plane crashes in between the U.S. and Mexico. Where do they bury the survivors?
There are no survivors.
A plane crashes in between the U.S. and Mexico. Where do they bury the survivors?
They don't bury the survivors.
Crashes in between Mexico and the U.S. Where do they bury the survivors?
I don't know. Where? Just U.S., isn't it?
In the U.S.
So they bury survivors now? So they bury survivors now?
Oh, I don't know.
They bury survivors now?
Wait, survivors? What?
A plane crashes in between Mexico and the U.S. Where do they bury the survivors?
Well, it depends, right? You're asking the two worst people to ask.
In a grave?
Somewhere in between Mexico and the U.S.
Because if it lands on the border, right, who can declare what happens to the airplane? And that's vague and they're undecided. So that can't be answered technically.
Yeah. I.
U.S. and Mexico?
Yeah.
I don't know, Texas?
What's your answer?
Oh no.
Do they bury survivors now?
Oh no, they don't.
Bury survivors now?
Survivors? What? Why would they bury survivors? Are you dumb?
So they bury survivors now?
Okay.
So they bury survivors now? Okay, the question was, a plane crashes in between U.S. and Mexico. Where do they bury the survivors?
Why would they bury the survivors?
So a plane crashes in between Mexico and the U.S. Where do they bury the survivors?
They bury the survivors? They don't bury the survivors. They're alive.
Wow.
So a plane crashes in between the U.S. and Mexico. Where do they bury the survivors?
In the U.S.
In between?
Donald Trump's house?
U.S. Where are they from?
Superior power!
So they bury survivors now?
Yeah.
So
Where do they bury the survivors? The people who survived.
Oh.
They don't bury them.
So they bury survivors now? They bury survivors now?
I agree.
Oh, man, you dumb